Use the cinematic lighting technique in your next project. Hello everybody, my name is Marco Bagnoli, I'm a cinematographer, and today I'm going to show you a cinematography technique that a lot of people seems to ignore. When you're going online, you see a lot of videos about lighting setup. You have to be 3-point lighting, 2-point lighting, top lighting, diffusion, many variables, but there's one thing how you can make your life as a cinematographer much easier and it will always look good. I'm going to show you a commercial in a cinematography breakdown. After watching this video, you should be able to shoot something like this. So this is the first shot we're looking at, and you can already see a nice look, nice aesthetic. We have this nice curvature from anamorphic optics that bend the lines of the image. But the lens is not a secret to this look. When you look commercials, movies, or other things that you think they look cinematic, you will notice a lot of use of silhouettes. Silhouettes are your best friend. Silhouettes is a technique so many people use in their videos because it just creates more depth to not light someone sometimes. The trick is sometimes to just put someone in front of something bright, or in general it should always be your goal to frame your subject a little bit better. When you put your subject into something like a circle, a rectangle, you frame them like a painting, and then this helps the audience to focus our view a little bit better, and now we can control the overall image a little better. So how do I shoot a shot like this? I would go into the room and now you search for the light source. I want them to sit here on the window. We have two benefits. One is we have this nice composition with this window. Also, when you're going for the over the shoulder shots, we have a side where the key light is coming from. So the rules of the lighting in the room are already set. Shooting near a window, always nice, always easy. Then they're going here for a little bit of color contrast. Looks like they going for this typical orange teal look. We have a little bit of blue, a little bit of warm. But the nice thing they done here is already they balanced the image pretty nicely with these three practicals. We have just two people here in the room. We have 3 window segments and 3 lamps. Whole image feels balanced. And the secret to great practicals is these toppings. Always don't just use bulbs and place things somewhere. It has to be something like this because now the light source, the size of the practical becomes larger. Also, they have nice characteristic. A light like this is sometimes a problem or nicer because you get light on the ground and light upward. It's a little bit difficult to control. So most of the time you also put them on the lowest setting. Use something like aperture bulbs, put them in there and make them really warm, and then on the lowest possible exposure because we only want the feel of the practical. We don't want most of the time that this lights something. It only should feel like there's a warm source. Then how do we get this nice silhouette? A silhouette we create with removing light and exposing for the right things. Our goal is in a scene like this to expose for the outside, but it only works when we have curtains. Curtains diffuse, break the light a little bit easier, and also removes a bit of distraction from the outside. When we have outside cars, other houses, it looks pretty unaesthetic, but now we have a clean new plane like a Canva and it just looks better. Now still, here is light outside and it bounces into the room. So even though we dropped the exposure, everything became a lot more bright in the room. So what we have to do is remove the nodes and put a big molten on the other side of the room. So when I'm standing here, here's the key light coming from. I would put molten on this side to remove every bouncing light that's going back into my face. So you have much easier light control and you get this nice contrast. You can actually see from this lamp they're getting a little bit of exposure on their face, but it's just minimal. It could be possible, I can't see it clearly, that it's a little bit of haze in the room because the shadows really looked a bit lifted and overall washed out, but it can also be just from this vintage anamorphic lens that we have this really unsharp image. It's actually not the best example, but even this location, when I turn off my light, should be look pretty okay as a silhouette. That would be, in my opinion, a bit much. We need a little bit more exposure and a slightly kick, but this lamp I have is a bit wrong, so we don't have this crazy silhouette feeling. This is the next shot, and like I said before, this is the over the shoulder, and now we can see how nice the key is coming from the side. We don't have to think about, oh, where do we put the lamp? Because here is the window and it has to give him a key light. When it's dark outside or the sun is actually in this moment in this direction and doesn't shine into the window, we have to fake the light situation. So what I would do is always measure your shot on the size of your window. What I mean with that is when the window is this big, you need an equivalent big butterfly where you shoot through or just bounce light again. It depends on the equipment and the possibilities you have to create a similar look of what the window would have. So you need a big butterfly, 12 by 12, 20 by 20 in a situation like this. Just bounce your lights with M40s into that and blast it into the room. But this could also be possible. We don't have a lot of money. This is a situation where the sun is perfectly. So we only put a diffusion in here. So a bigger diffusion 6x6 is maybe big enough when we don't have that much budget. And then put a molten or a floppy on left side and a bit above his head. And then it's done. Then set just your exposure, then we would get a similar look. Don't always have to add every light. You have more control with it, but it's not most of the time the possibilities of our productions that we made. So keep that in mind, that is timing and planning for the shoot much more important where the sun is than actually having the right gear. This is also a really nice shot because now you can see even better. We have one lighting setup or one lighting world we said before with this. Okay, we every time have this warm lamps and a window with curtains, which is a little bit cooler. This is the set for whole production. Creating the same look is pretty simple because now, okay, we're now in this room. Kid is sitting on the table. Now I know, okay, this is our light source. Is there something ugly in the background or do we want to control the light more? So butterfly with ultra bounce here, putting lights under it, blasting into it, giving us ambience and key light for the scenery. Then, okay, there's now a lot of bounce into the room. So we flag the other side of the wall or maybe even this side of the wall away so that we don't have a bounce, just the glow from this window. Now, the shot feels very empty, very cool. We have to break the atmosphere a little bit. So put one lamp here in the front. You can actually see sometimes the bulbs are not fitting and then cinematographers, gaffers get creative. It looks more like there's an MC just taped in because the placement in the glow is pretty weird. So sometimes, a lot of the times you don't have the right bulb, so you have to go with this technique. And then here's clearly haze to lift the shadows even more. And then it's done. Expose also for the background and don't be scared of too dark of an image. This is a look where you have to be, or better say you have to be no fear, because a lot of people will now look at the monitor and say, oh, the image looks dark, then we need a little bit of fill for him and so. No, you want to go for this look, you have to be brave. Otherwise, you wouldn't get this look. Then we go outside on this location and now we have this cowboy type like scene. And here again, it's not just the overall exposure, cameras, lighting. You always have to look at the cloth because we have blue sky, blue mountains, this brownish, yellowish wheat in the background. And what they chose to do is let them wear something blue. Now we again in a color palette where we have warm highlights and a little bit of blue overall. And so we create more depth. Because here again, you can clearly see we expose for the sky. The overall exposure is way lower than normal. And now what you can do is put a butterfly with the negative side above them to cut light above them. You drop the exposure and then on 1-2 stops to the background so to create more depth. Now you can also put neck on the side of the camera when you even want more depth or more shadows, but sometimes just a topper is good enough. It takes a lot of space, it's annoying to move, but it helps you to create this look. And then you can choose, it depends on, okay, now where's the sun? Do we only have to use the reflector to give them a little bit more key, or do we set up maybe an aperture 2400 with a frost frame in front to give them a little bit more key? Then you have to depend on, okay, what is the situation like in this moment? Also here a nice example of framing your subject. You can just do a white without a foreground or just put something like this wheat here in the foreground, but putting them through this metal really frames the shot, makes us look even more in the situation. So if you enjoyed this video, I would really appreciate a subscription from you. My name is Marco Bagnoli and see you next time.